Hi y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and we're back here today with another challenge video. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, so let's get on with the crafts. Let's go. Here we go with DIY number 1. Now, I save all the sticks off of my sponge brushes, and this is an old-fashioned pencil sharpener, and I'm sticking the end of that sponge brush handle in the thing, and I had to take the cover off my pencil sharpener so that it would fit in the hole to sharpen that down so that it fit in this little piece. Now, where that little piece came from is I took a lamp base apart, and we're just prepping everything and getting it ready for what we're making. So I'm going to take all the signs, all the things on there, and I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to cover that hole as well. And then we're ready for the next step. Now the next thing I'm doing is I found this little piece of peg dowel rod, and I'm just going to pound it down in there with my hammer and get it to where it's flush. And then I'm going to make sure that this piece still fits, and I'm going to see what it looks like if I tighten it up. Now y'all don't look at my sexy legs. Then I'm going to take this arrow sign and I'm going to take the stickers off. This came from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to take my pliers and roll this back and take this off. Now I'm going to save that piece of twine, and I'm going to get rid of those staples because I don't need those. Can't use them again. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little utility knife and I'm going to cut these paint sticks down. Now one of my paint sticks came from Home Depot because it had the orange on it, and you're just going to keep scoring this until you get it to break in two, and it is a little bit of a process to do it with this. I ended up taking it and going out and taking the saw and cutting this down because these are not the ones you get from the paint department. These are the ones that you buy, and they're like solid wood. So I got it cut down to the size I wanted, and then I'm checked to see about my brad nails to make sure they weren't going to go through this too long, and I'm going to nail that little, that thing onto that thing so it does this. Y'all can see what I'm talking about. So I glued that little I stapled that little handle on. Now I am going to add some glue there to make sure that it stays in place. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint everything with this orange, because the back of that paint stick laying over there by my left hand has orange on the back of it, so I figured we'll just cover everything in orange. But this is the reason why you need to paint everything white, because see the difference in the paint color when you go over the white and over the orange. Now I'm not going to be too much worried about this because we're going to cover all of this as we do this, and I'm going to put this orange on the back of this paint stick, put a couple of coats on there, and then let it dry. Then while that's drying, that's my base and my stand. Okay, now while that's drying, I'm going to take the arrow and use the antiquing wax on it, and I'm going to use 3 of these little paint sticks that I cut down and put the antiquing wax on them, and I'm just taking a baby wipe and rubbing it on and then taking off what I don't need. Then once that all my orange pieces are dry, I'm going to put back on another glove. Yeah, because I don't like to get my hands stained with this, that stuff, the antique and wax. Okay, so I'm going to go around the edges of this paint stir stick that came from Home Depot. Now these you can cut with the utility knife really easy, but since I painted everything orange, I am going to take and antique wax this, and then I'll and that base as well. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my ruler, and I'm just going to make me a very faint line on there. It's so faint I couldn't see it. So I'm going to take, and I'm just kind of trying to mark out I'm trying to figure out where my center mark is. Now I started at the base of the arrow part over there where I just put my hand to show you. And I'm counting how many letters I have and which letter would be the center letter. And I'm drawing a line there, or I'm actually writing in one of the letters there. So I'm going to write these letters in, but I can't see them when I get done. I don't know why I did that. Because I'm almost blind as a bat and can't see that. Okay, so I pretty much know where the center of this is going to be. And so I get out my Rust-Oleum Linen White Chalk paint. My husband says I use that for everything. I'm sorry I got my big old head in the way. And the camera's focusing on all them gray hairs. But I'm going to start putting the center letter in because I've already wrote it on that little green pad over there to the side. So I know which one's the center. And I am just going to spell this out now, and it's going to say pumpkin patch. Now, you could use a Cricut for this. You can use letters from the Dollar Tree for this. You can use whatever you want, but this is how I chose to do this. Now, my paint was a little thick, so I got a little bit of water and watered it down, and that's what you see in this cup. So I dip it in the paint, then I go over into that water and thin it out a little bit so that I can write these letters just like I want them to look. So the next thing I do after putting the finishing touches on this one, then I'm going to go through and write hay rides, apple orchard, and corn maze, and embellish each of those, and then get ready to add them to my little signpost that I made. So here we are with the signpost, and I've set the other pieces aside to let them dry, and I apologize, I was hitting the camera and didn't even realize it. And I am going to take some little embellishments, and I'm going to go all the way around the bottom of this, adding in different things, and you'll see what that looks like in a few minutes. So after I get the this far, I decide, oh, I better put in, I'm trying to figure out how I want these things to look, and I figured I better put in my sign post before I do any more. And I wanted to make this so you could pull it out and store it easily, and that's the reason why I didn't glue this in, because it is really tight fitting in there. I'm going to finish going all the way around this, and when I get done, you will see this at the final reveal. I just wanted to show you the back side, and that little post is going to be covered up so that you don't see it, and we'll see the rest of this at the final reveal. Now, this is our First Friday Open Challenge. It happens every first Friday of the month, and this month our guest host is Holly at Lamb Living, and our hosts are Lisa from Our Gray House and Sarah Jujubee DIYs. Go check them out because they're doing awesome crafts, and there's also a playlist in the description box below of all the other participants in this challenge. Go check them out because you sure don't want to miss them. They're doing some awesome crafts. All right, here we go with DIY number 2. For the next one, I needed two signs for my booth for the fall because we are transitioning to fall now, and I wanted to put one of these in a little vase. So I'm going to use wood glue, but that didn't work because my thing stopped up. I didn't want to take time to fix it, so I went and got the Aliens tacky glue out and put some tacky glue and hot glue on this and put this sucker together. Next thing I did is I got out my brad nailer, and I used my brad nails to nail this to the board, and then I'm going to take and add some Aliens tacky glue to this, and I'm going to cut off that little brad nail because it was too long. That's why I used the board underneath it so that it didn't go into my desk. And then we will cut this off with a pair of wire snippers, and then we'll move on to the next step. Our next step, we added a Waverly's antiquing wax, and we're going to put it on and wipe off the excess, and we'll do this on the front, back, and the little post. Then the next thing I did is I took and wrote pumpkin patch on there, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting the center letter, so I'm counting the letters over to see how far I need to go and what letter is the center letter. Then after I finished all my letters, I went back with my black marker and highlighted each of these letters. Next thing I did is I took out this little birdie mold that I got off of TEMU, and I'm going to take some hot glue and fill this up. Now you want to be very careful when filling this up because you want to make sure that that hot glue gets all the way down in there, and you want to work the bubbles out by squeezing it. And then you're just going to continue to do that until you get this filled all the way to the top. Then you're going to let it sit aside and dry. And while that's drying, we're going to add some little flower embellishments to this project, and we're going to do some on one side and some on the other side to kind of even it out. And then I lost these two little berries off the pick berries, and I'm going to save those because those come in handy when doing miniature projects and so many other projects. Now, the next thing we're going to do is take this little bird out of the mold. You want to make sure that it's nice and dry so that it's solid, because if you try to take it out while it was still warm, it will collapse on you, so you want to wait. And then you can just trim it up with a pair of scissors, and this little bird turns out so cute. And the next thing we're going to do with this little bird is we're going to get out our Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint that I put on everything, my husband thinks. So we're going to get this on there and we're going to let it dry, and I'm actually holding it in front of a fan. Now, I was going to use the apple barrel paint and paint the bird brown, but that apple barrel paint will not stick to the hot glue, so it's better to use the chalk paint first and use it, and then let it get good and dry. Don't do like I'm doing here and be fast. But then the next thing we're going to do is take our antiquing wax and apply it to the little bird and make it brown. And the next thing we're going to do is add our little bird to the top of our sign. We left the little pin on there and stuck it down between the leaf to give it support. And then we're going to stick the little bird. So the little pin head, we don't have to worry about it because it's going to be behind that leaf and it's hidden. And we will see the rest of this at the final reveal. Now, at this time, we'd like to thank our subscribers. We love you bunches. We appreciate everything you do for this channel. All the liking, the sharing, and the big thumbs up, and having conversations with us through the comments. We really enjoy all of that, and we appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We wouldn't be a channel if it wasn't for y'all watching. And so we just want to give you a big thanks. Here we go with the final reveal and all the embellishments. Now here's this little pumpkin patch sign sitting on my table, crafting table, and then this is it sitting in the booth right there on that chair, and it turned out absolutely adorable. Now here's our little pumpkin patch sign that I was able to get a picture of before I took it to the booth. And here it is in the booth sitting inside of a little milk bottle. Now, we opened a booth over at the Avonlea Mall, and it's called the Chic Shack. Y'all come visit us because we have a bunch of awesome things. Now, this is, if you ever want to know what's going on with our channel, go over to our community tab page on YouTube, on our channel, and you'll see what's going on for that week of videos. And if there's something special happening or something else going on, we will let you know here. You guys, thanks for watching. We love you guys bunches.
Awesome. So you guys, if you like this content, subscribe. Hit that notification bell and give us that big thumbs up because it really helps our channel out. And we'll see you in the next episode of the Crafty Art Shack. We'll see you later. Bye.